rate. I'm kind of surprised that it's gone this far.
Why are there so many World of Warcraft players switching to old school RuneScape? You must have
better graphics.
Noticed them, right? Lurking around the Grand Exchange, trying to parse on a goblin, wondering where their ability bars are, and asking how Jagex is managing to update the game rather than re-releasing the same exact content over and over and over again.
Imagine that.
I sure did, because I'm one of those WoW players.
Oh, wow.
A year and a half ago, after around half a month of MMO soul searching, I found old school RuneScape. I had quit WoW after Mythic raiding for around a decade.
Quit during Shadowlands. That expansion did, like, totally... It did irreversible damage to the game.
For various reasons. I was sick of the short-form, seasonal ethos of the game, devaluing any and all of my progression, sick of the only value...
Thank you. I hate the seasonal model. I think it's so stupid. Expansion should be the seasons. There should not be seasons within expansions.
Content
it's too fast.
Instanced, bored of the binary itemization and samey loot, and disheartened by Blizzard's complacency with the classic incarnation of the game. Clearly, I wasn't the only one. Mad Season, Guzu, Caradus, Savix, and more have since begun their first steps into this beloved, curated sandbox.
So they're all going over to... Everybody is going over to RuneScape now.
About RuneScape seems to have translated for the World of Warcraft player.
Wow.
And why? First, we must acknowledge where these WoW creators come from. Unlike myself, most of them are classic WoW players, an old-school 2004 incarnation of World of Warcraft, much like
the best version of the game, by the way.
Old-school RuneScape
by
is
a mile.
of RuneScape.
It's not even close.
Unlike OSRS, though, this version of World of Warcraft is following the timeline of WoW itself.
Yeah.
Blizzard has been updating classic WoW every few months with new patches and eventually the very same expansions that released years ago. The initial release in 2018 is now entering the Mists of Pandaria expansion and resembles Retail WoW, the modern game, much more than it does Classic WoW or Vanilla WoW, the version from 2004.
WoW turned into Retail WoW in the patch for Trial of the Crusader. That's when it happened. Before that, it was WoW. After that, it was Retail.
Interesting to imagine a version of old school RuneScape that just kind of began releasing all the same updates, eventually ruining the game for the very same players that returned to it because it lacked those updates.
Yep.
Blizzard understood and saw this as the player base continued to shrink. Therefore, they opted for the seasonal servers that remixed the standard classic vanilla WoW experience. The Season of Mastery, and eventually the Season of Discovery. These year-long servers run down the line of all the same patches that were released between 2004 and 2006.
I think the reason why these didn't really catch on and retain a player base is because a lot of people don't want to invest into an MMO that's transient. Like, people don't want to put all of their time and energy, effort, and emotion into a community and into a world that they know is going to disappear in a year. I think that's one of the big reasons why OSRS is receiving such a resurgence. It's because it's a game that has such a long tenure that people know that the time that they invest into the game now will matter later on.
Updates. The latter, Season of Discovery, or SOD, introduced runes and granted all kinds of player power in the form of new abilities and many, many old ones from future expansions, as well as reworked some of the raids and even added one new raid toward the end.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experiment. Finally, Blizzard released the Classic Anniversary servers, so just Vanilla Classic, again, for a second, or some would argue, fourth time. That's the first point to take note of. These creators love WoW. Even I, to a certain extent, still do as well, especially Classic, a version of the game that I think is most tangibly an MMORPG. It's wonderful, yet regardless of your love for it, anything exceptional becomes dry over time, especially when not allowed to exist in our mind. Being fed the same thing, as great as it may be, over and over again doesn't foster a larger community. It pushes those sick of it away.
And well, it's also that, I mean, they've re-released the game multiple times, and at a certain point, people have played this enough. And there are no real, like, people want a classic WoW that has updates probably kind of like OSRS. Blizzard is never going to have like a good version of Classic WoW like Plus until they get rid of the seasonal idea of the game.
Mount becoming sick only increases in time. The repeated cycles of Classic aren't getting any fresher, and next time Blizzard relaunches Classic servers, chances are they'll see even less popularity.
I think so too. I mean, I've lost interest over time, and I think another reason too is because I think Season of Discovery, this maybe is an unpopular opinion, but I think Season of Discovery created problems that Classic WoW had built into it, that those problems created the texture of the game. And Season of Discovery seeking to remove that texture ended up making the game worse.
Blizzard has floated the idea of a Classic Plus. This has been a long-running desire from the player base. Instead of re-releasing the same content,
warriors that can heal, mages that can heal. That's not Classic WoW. That's not the point. That's not the reason why it was a good MMO. The reason why class identity existed in Classic WoW is because everybody couldn't AoE, everybody couldn't heal, everybody couldn't tank.
Why not add truly new content to the game? In many ways, SOD was experimenting in that regard. Sadly, I'm a bit concerned with this. First, Blizzard's survey that introduced this idea was filled with nothing even remotely interesting systemically. It had a whole host of quality of life features such as account-wide collections and graphical improvements. Essentially, they were pitching retail WoW features alongside what Blizzard does most confidently: instanced content, new raids, dungeons, and so on. I suppose that's what people want, but I also think that this will kill the game down the line.
It will, just because it's killed the game every single other time. Classic WoW is a good game because the entire game matters. Like what you do in Stranglethorn Vale, and Stranglethorn Vale as a zone has value even in the end game because of ZG and the buffs. Every single player can take part in the celebration of killing Onyxia or Nefarian because of the buff. All of these things are necessary in order to create a cohesive MMO that matters as a collective. But the problem is that developers, I think that the guys that are making WoW now, they don't understand that value, and they think that making the game in its own segmented ways is better. And it's just made it worse.
Add new skills, new classes, however, disregarding the architecture that makes most of these things function is an issue. It may work well for retail, but that's because the modern version of WoW is competitive and singular in its vision. It has an exceptional combat system that is the sole point of interaction with the rest of the game. By comparison, Classic WoW is emergent. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say that it is defined by its leveling experience more so than its endgame. Because endgame in Classic WoW, the farming for pre-raid this and then raid logging, isn't the most evocative or unique feature. Leveling through the enormous uninstanced open world, forming groups to take down elites and brave difficult quests, finding ways to solo bosses, just running through the dense jungles and open plains. That is Classic WoW. The endgame
that's an MMO. That's a massively multiplayer online game because you see other people, it's massive, and there's multiple people. Wow, it's the definition of the thing that it's supposed to be.
It's held together by emergent interactions never intended by the developers and seemingly never acknowledged since. The interpersonal relations of managing 40-odd raiders, the faction collusion, the war effort that saw, in my opinion, one of the best game series ever created around it.
The Barney
Even the
videos were
collective
insane.
flight paths to gather meticulously timed world buffs. These are the heartbeat of the game that aren't retained by just improving graphics, adding instanced player housing, and a new class. This survey saw Blizzard double down on things that are neat, I guess, but aren't what actually makes Classic WoW good. With all of that out of the way, we must also acknowledge the lull that Classic is currently in. The anniversary servers are chugging along with the 100-odd thousand players still logging weekly, Season of Discovery has ended, and the modern version of Classic WoW, Jesus Christ, there are so many versions, is entering an expansion that most original players aren't likely to return to. During this,
I feel like I would probably play a new WoW expansion if it came out, just because of content for like, oh, it's a new game that's coming out, I'm going to play the new game. but like I wouldn't really expect to like fully invest into WoW again, just because I feel like ever since Legion, really, we've just been playing the same game. And I think even like in classic WoW, like for example, there are items in Molten Core that are relevant for the entirety of the expansion or the entire game. And like in Burning Crusade, that's still partially true. Like the Shadow Damage Necklace from Karazhan, or like I think Gruul's, what was it? The Gruul's Trinket is good until Sunwell. Dragon Spine Trophy. There's a lot of examples of that. DST, yeah, exactly. And so, like, you have a lot of them, and I think, obviously, Classic WoW had a lot more. You know, you had Talisman of Ephemeral Power, you had the Onslaught Girdle, you had, you know, obviously, Sulfuras, which was a legendary weapon, Thunder Fury, best example, best weapon in the game, period. And so, and that was in Molten Core, and BWL had things like the, you know, Stylene's Impeding Scarab, or Ashkandi, or something else, right? And so Classic WoW had this idea where every expansion and every patch was connected, and there was like a cohesiveness of these different raids, and there was a symbiosis of them. And now I feel like in retail WoW, you're only playing the patch and not the expansion. And I don't really want to do that. It doesn't feel like an MMO anymore. It feels like it's like a lobby simulator where you're just on this gear treadmill that is being reinvented every other year to give you the illusion that you're doing something different. Like, I just, it doesn't feel like there's anything to it anymore. Everything that said, they add into OSRS as evergreen content. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, right? Is that, like, OSRS has, like, they add new stuff in, but that new stuff is, it exists inside of a larger ecosystem. Same with PoE. In both examples for PoE, yes.
LOL, people want something, and that something, for whatever reason, is old school RuneScape. RuneScape and WoW have a combative history with one another. I'm sure older players remember just how competitive and defensive these two groups were. The RuneScape versus World of Warcraft videos on the fledgling website known as YouTube were a not uncommon thing to see. The arguments at a lunch table, the friendships broken or lost, all of it laid a foundation for many experiences in the mid-2000s. And a singular truth was birthed from the din of childhood tribalism. World of Warcraft is better because it's for people whose parents are generous enough to front $15 a month for a subscription.
That's the reason?
Meanwhile, RuneScape is the kids game for losers who can only get $5 or none bucks, stuck in the beleaguered free-to-play worlds like jobless middle school peasants. At that point, World of Warcraft was on top of the world. It was reaching...
Well, I think WoW was, like, classic WoW was so amazing for its time. It was like Halo 1. Like, there are some games, like, for example, Super Mario 64, World of Warcraft, Halo 1, that were just such generational, massive successes, like Elden Ring, probably another good example of it, that it just totally Zelda... Yeah, there's like a handful of others too, Oblivion maybe. These games were just so insanely fucking good, but the problem is that while World of Warcraft, I think, has better gameplay than OSRS, I mean, by a mile, it has better graphics, etc., and it feels better to play. As somebody, like, I didn't really play OSRS a lot, but I think WoW feels better to play, at least Classic WoW does. The problem is that that's not really something that people are going to stay invested in if they just keep getting their shit reset over and over. And that's the big problem.
Its subscriber peak and growing. While RuneScape was undeniably a cultural force, it was always the lesser of the two. Times have kind of changed since then. World of Warcraft's popularity, while still at the top, has waned. The game has stagnated, failing to reach a new audience. Meanwhile, RuneScape has died and been rebirthed twice.
Multiple times.
Old school RuneScape has not only been growing, it has been thriving, especially in the past 2 years, where the player count has almost doubled. This is thanks to exceptional updates focusing on the early and mid-game experience and external community-driven marketing from creators and Jagex alike.
Wow.
Leagues, the limited-time Season of Discovery-esque but way crazier game mode released in late 2024, saw more than 200,000 concurrent players, and now the game is reaching up those figures without the help of Leagues at all. For reference, this is more concurrent players than the total individual raid logs in Classic WoW's Anniversary Edition every week. In
Wow.
July, we're seeing the release of the final part of the newest continent, Varlamore, and shortly
that
after
big?
that, Old School's first entirely new skill,
Holy
Sailing,
shit.
which is expanding the world in ways never before seen in the game. Is that all it takes for the conversion for the WoW player to give it a go?
Well, yeah, it looks
Not
kind of like
entirely.
Azeroth now.
OSRS offers certain similarities in experience that are worth mentioning, like the emphasis on emergent gameplay. Emergence is when unique, surprising interactions arise from engagement with standard systems in a
Swarm
video
Mafia.
game. For example, in WoW Classic, it was the coordination between half a dozen guilds to time their world buff drops
Or that
for
too.
the most amount of players to make sure there are no overlaps. These are methods of interaction never explicitly designed by the developers. They emerge thanks to player need and
GDKP
creativity.
is the same thing.
My favorite emergence system in Classic WoW was learning Dire Maul tribute runs on my Hunter all the way back in 2019. Not only was it a difficult solo challenge, but selling the loot and buffs to different players was a really cool way to earn money.
Yep.
These things don't exist in retail WoW. The game
Yeah,
has been
I think his point right here is so good. Because this is the main thing that I don't like about retail WoW right now. Is the fact that retail WoW is effectively, it's been totally, like all of those cool, weird things you used to be able to do as a player back then have been nerfed, changed, or homogenized. Like, yeah, you're always on like this very strict path. And I feel like what I really enjoy about like new video games and like new MMOs especially is being able to do really cool, weird things that you shouldn't be able to do. Like, remember like in New World, for example, we would do all those like stupid things like killing that bear and all that. I think that's what really makes MMOs special.
meticulously designed to be balanced and competitive. Therefore, any outliers such as this are immediately patched out. There's even a refrain popularized by players calling out this behavior. Fun detected, they say in unison as Blizzard removes an emergent mechanic that may trivialize something.
This is
in OSRS.
This also, by the way, is why I criticized them removing GDKP. And in retrospect, now with Season of Discovery in hindsight, do you guys see how removing GDKP ended up damaging the entire game and it caused so many people to quit? It was bad. Yep. It killed Sod. I said that's, remember Rextroy? He's still getting stuff done nowadays? Yeah. It made Sod 100x better? Not really. I don't know. GDKP was community built, so it had to die? Yeah.
Happens less. The line between exploit and emergence is thinner. It is also encouraged with the existence of the wilderness, a zone where PvP is enabled and upon dying, you drop your loot.
Yeah.
If you are not the aggressor or unskulled, you retain 3 of your most expensive items. And if you are skulled, the aggressor, you lose everything.
Damn.
There is a tangible risk reward in the wilderness that makes it unlike anything else in theme park MMOs.
Oh, look who it is.
Singles areas for one-on-ones and multi-combat zones for group fights, fostering a truly sprawling and occasionally terrifying environment. It has its issues, but is ultimately a totally unique element of RuneScape. The open world PvP during Classic WoW's heyday was kind of similar to this. If you decided to play on a PvP server, it wasn't uncommon to run into roving warbands of bloodthirsty players farming honor points on random people. It created
Season 2, or sorry, like not Season 2, Phase 2 of Classic WoW before they added Battlegrounds on a balanced server was peak Classic WoW. That was the pinnacle of the game. It was fucking amazing. And then, like, as soon as they added BGs, it was pretty much dead.
A hide-and-seek leveling experience that definitely got tiresome, but was pretty crazy nonetheless. This system is only begotten to wilderness in old school, so it's a bit more manageable there. Of course, in PvP, death is nowhere near as punishing in WoW as you only lose time, but the general ethos of open PvP is worth considering as a point of interest. OSRS has emergence that extends far past PvP too. It wouldn't be far-fetched to suggest that the vast majority of PvE bosses in RuneScape have emergent mechanics defining them, whether it be safe spotting Dagannoth Kings, butterflying Akka, soloing Cox, and anything.
Soloing what? This used to be the case whenever you would solo raids. Like, if you look back at my old YouTube channel, one of my favorite things to do was I would love to solo old raid bosses because I just thought it was really cool. Like, the idea that you could do that or solo, like, dungeon bosses by yourself. And I thought that was amazing. And then somewhere along the line, Blizzard just decided to equalize everything. And then that entire meta kind of just went away.
In between. Even the skilling in OSRS is often thought of as an emergent experience thanks to tick manipulation being a valid method for a lot of players. It also has an effective blend of communality and solo expression. Some of the most difficult content in OSRS is solo. However, the experience of playing the game itself is a lot more communal. Not in the sense that
I think that's what the future of MMOs is, by the way. The idea that you need 4 or 24 other people in order to do content, I think that is a very reductive way of making an MMO. And I think that the best example of that is actually just look at isekai animes. Almost every single isekai anime is either a person doing things on their own or a person doing things with a very small group of friends that they work in between with, right? People love solo content? Yeah, exactly. And all of those animes wouldn't be popular if it wasn't if it wasn't an aesthetic people were looking for.
Demands grouping that's
like, there's literally an anime called Solo Leveling that is the most popular anime right now in the world.
Only method of multiplayer communality, just being around others is enough.
Yeah.
Because the game isn't linear in its progression, it's a sandbox. No zone is ever out-leveled or outright devalued. You are just as likely to see high-level players in Varrock, the second city most players go to, as you are in the elven city of Prifddinas.
Oh.
Mario. Not only does this make the game feel more alive, it also creates the emergent experience of seeing someone, as soon as you zone in, wearing way cooler shit than you are, and giving you...
Exactly. This was something that was crucial in original WoW. Whenever you would see somebody that was fully geared out, like you go into Stormwind for the first time, and you inspect somebody with like full fucking tier 2 and Thunder Fury, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Something to aspire to as a result. This is of course dead in retail WoW thanks to the overabundance of cosmetic overrides applying in-game visuals to anyone, anywhere, making it impossible to tell if someone is a badass because they cleared a mythic raid or just swiped their credit card or farmed an old piece of content while watching YouTube videos on another monitor. Classic WoW, at least.
Yeah, back in the day, if you wanted to look cool, you had to actually do content that was challenging. Nowadays, anybody can look cool because of transmog, which is like, it's like that. I mean, I did transmog contests, right? So like, it's not like I think that's bad, but I do think that there is a certain level of value that in order to even look cool at all, it's kind of like, remember Halo Reach had this, where like if you saw somebody with like the Hayubasa armor or like a couple of other like types of items, you would be like, oh shit, that's a real one.
Original version didn't have cosmetic overrides, so being able to actually see what someone is wearing,
but you can see what it took away too.
Of authenticity to the game world and its player base. Everything felt of that world, and the items being worn gained an aesthetic value. They were recognized. The legendary armaments were legendary. That has since faded in time thanks to the repeated launches and eventual mastery of all the content, but it did exist at one point. Because it's persistent...
I think that it mainly existed as like a facade because people just didn't really know enough about the game. The reality is that the reason why a lot of people had Scarabord or Thunder Fury is because they were guild masters or officers in a guild. But, you know, it's still better than like participation legendaries that they have now in retail, right? An illusion of prestige is better than no prestige at all.
Updated, OSRS never lost that, and while certain gear may be less impressive today than it was in 2015 or 2005, new gear has taken its place. Seeing someone in Sanguine Torva or the newly released Radiant Oathplate armor, especially if they achieve these things on an Iron Man, is incredibly
Yeah, it's
impressive.
badass.
Just having that communally recognized value promotes more people to seek that recognition. After all, flexing your hard-earned achievements is
being able to show off in video games matters a lot, because a lot of the people that play MMOs are people that have been disaffected by the real world, and they want to seek a secondary world where they can accomplish goals and achieve those goals in a way that is fair to them, that the real world doesn't provide. That's another really big component to this. Like, MMOs, and this is the reason why MMOs are so popular among young guys, it's because if you're a 16 or 17-year-old guy, you don't have really any avenue to express yourself as a guy, right? I mean, like, as like that guy. You don't have any, like, you're a loser, basically. And so you can play a video game, and you can work hard at this video game, and you can achieve something that matters. And when a video game has a bunch of pay to win in it, and it takes those things away from you, then that entire structure is removed. And so people spend so much money on prestige in real life. Think about how much money people spend on Prada or Lamborghinis or a Porsche or something like that, like Supreme clothes. All of these things have inflated values because of what they project. And what I'm saying is that for a lot of disaffected and young people, video games provide an alternate form of them to be able to seek out that same satisfaction that they're not able to achieve in real life.
or part of existing alongside other people, whether it be in-game or not. World of Warcraft, at least right now, is failing to offer
That's sad. You could say that it's sad, but I also don't think it's really, I think it's natural. If you're a young guy, you want to find a place where you'll be taken seriously and treated like an adult. Like, that's what you want. Like, you don't want to be treated like a kid. Like, that's what happens. It's natural. Yeah, this has been going on for thousands of years.
Permanent home for its players, asking them time and time again to recreate the same characters and re-experience the same events.
Yeah.
Bro, I wish Classic WoW Hardcore had these challenges. Goodness gracious, man.
Hey, that's not bad.
These are so
That's the
cool.
last Batwave. I have a decent amount of prayer.
This is exactly what I've been
56
asking
also
for
had a
forever.
bit of a sketchy lore, but not one that I haven't done before.
It's funny, I criticize Retail WoW for becoming a fleeting seasonal experience that devalues everything you've earned every new patch, but Classic WoW has become that too.
Well, Retail WoW is its own competitive game, and it's made for a specific audience. I don't think they should change the way Retail WoW works. They have made their bed, now lay in it. You've decided to make the game that way. You've curated this audience of people that just want to play that game. Then just keep doing that. It obviously works for them.
With every new incarnation, it resets everyone back to zero
Yeah.
and asks them to run that treadmill again. Blizzard is plagued by the disease of seasonality. They seem incapable of creating anything outside of that paradigm because it is the only way to foster continuous engagement in their eyes. Perhaps that's more a fault of the theme park MMO than it is of their own creativity. The Season of Discovery, being seasonal in name, also operated this way. It had incremental level gates, 20, 30, 40, and so on, that acted like miniature expansion releases with a new raid, some new content, and new abilities and other stuff. Blizzard, being tied to this seasonal model, was terrified of making players feel like they need to catch up to their friends, so they caught up for them. Level
That's
boost.
the issue. That's the issue right there. The moment that Blizzard started catching players up, instead of letting them play the game at their own pace, is, I think, the moment that the MMO aspect of the game started to recede and die. And I think it started in Wrath of the Lich King, and it just got worse.
Experience boosts, and so on. It became so disconnected conceptually from the original classic, the original vanilla,
That's in every
the
game, yeah.
experience people originally connected with, that it asked them to skip it entirely. Expediting the leveling in classic is like offering maraschino cherries as the dessert itself. It's like the rosemary being garnished by the steak. It makes absolutely no sense and caters to a demographic of players that exist antithetically to an MMO.
Fucking Exactly. 100%. That's what I've been trying to say. Completely. A perfect line? Yes. That's the way that I felt about it for a long time. That's why I said in Wrath of the Lich King, they hit a ceiling with attracting MMO players, and then so they started making the game for people that didn't like MMOs, and eventually the game became a game that wasn't for people that liked MMOs.
The genre is defined by persistent engagement, a world that continues living. But by promoting momentary engagement for incredibly short periods of time, you create artificial bursts of popularity and then long lulls where most prospect players don't want to join because it looks dead. But here we are today. Players clearly want some kind of emergent experience in a growing game. One of my favorite examples of this was actually in Classic WoW's anniversary servers released only a little while ago. OnlyFans, a content creator-driven guild conceptualized by streamer Sodapoppin. It was a communal experiment.
This gift must be so mad right now. Man, that sucks. Damn, bro, like they didn't even name him.
A creator house like you'd see back in 2016, but done in World of Warcraft. It was a persistently running reality television show that tested the mental fortitude of all those involved, because OnlyFans was less so about the game and more so about people interacting with one another through the game.
Who you think? Look at that.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Holy shit!
No, POV, you've gotten every single item.
You have gotten a lot of items.
He's gotten it, and it's good for Warrior. You've gotten every item, bro.
Listen. I'll pass if you come to my stream and rate my physique.
Wait, what?
All right, get in.
Holy bro, what the
Yep.
is that a bodysuit? Wait, this
Wait,
guy
you're mad.
is shredded, by the way.
Yep.
What's your body
He got
fat
married
percentage?
recently.
I followed Tyler 1's journey through the guild's rise and eventual dissolution. Tyler 1 is, of course, another streamer, popular for his abrasive and somewhat controversial personality and exceptional League of Legends play. Never
He's
having
challenger
played
player.
Classic WoW before, he ventured into OnlyFans with an open mind. OnlyFans was created on the hardcore server, meaning that if you die, you lose your character. And simultaneously, the guild ran alongside a host of add-ons, or in RuneScape terminology, plugins, that created race-driven competitions. Undead, Tauren, Orcs, and Trolls all competed against one another through this external system. There were raffles, battles, arguments, and everything in between. During
There's
this
a lot of fucking drama. Holy shit, there was a lot of drama.
process,
I watched second one was
Tyler
so much worse than
learn
the first
game,
for drama.
Go from meandering around, keyboard turning, and sometimes forgetting to attack, to running a 40-man raid. His interaction with different content creators, his fabricated drama with Sodapoppin, his insistence to essentially roleplay a rise to power, narrativized the entire experience. It did so well that when he died, it became a legendary moment within the community. While leading a raid into Molten Core, battling the fire elemental Baron.
I love the fact that everybody that criticized Pirate Software for roaching out ran away like little pussy bitches and left Tyler to die. This was the, like, I'm still going off the high that I have from that from like fucking 6 months ago. Because I called it. I said it, everybody said I was wrong. Oh, and there it was.
Geddon, Tyler 1 was faced with a decision. Go for the kill, DPSing down the final few percent and healing through the AoE explosions, or play it safe, run away. His fatal call was to DPS. Go full.
He made the right call, by the way. He made the right call 100%. Any good raid leader would have made that call, and if he had a good raid, it would have been no problem. It's not even a question. Any good player, any good raid leader would have already said that. It's not even a doubt.
Hog, as they say, Zug the Zuggler, full send, and his shouts echoed through the voice call, unaware that many had already begun to run, because when a death means a reset of your progress, it's every man for himself.
Go back in. Everybody back in. Everybody back in. I'm death wishing. Big heals.
Sony,
Big
get out.
heals on me. Big heals on me. I'm death wishing. Big heals on me.
Holy shit.
What the
It's
fuck?
him.
Big heals on me. Big heals on me. You can't lift.
They could have easily killed him here. They could have easily killed him. Any good raid leader at any period in time, anybody knows this is a 100% stay in and finish the boss. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 warriors in the raid. If each one of them pressed execute twice, this boss would be dead.
Finish it. Don't run. Finish. Finish. Don't run. Finish. Finish.
Oh my god.
The boss fell, but not without the death of many of those brave enough to fight alongside their war chief in his final.
That's right. Just like Garrosh. He was right about everything, and if the rest of the Horde had stood with him, he would still be the war chief. He was betrayed.
Moments. This felt like the end of the story, and for many
Yep.
it was. It was facilitated by Classic WoW, by the hardcore servers, by the raid itself, but this existed only due to the emergent methods through which these creators decided to approach this re-release. Why do I bring this up though? For an OSRS player, it may be obvious. This happens all the fucking time in RuneScape. Not on the same scale as OnlyFans, and Sodapoppin's achievement of managing to wrangle in the egos of dozens, if not hundreds, of content creators for months was unlike anything I've ever seen,
It was
but in a
impressive.
microcosm. This is RuneScape's most common creator-driven element. The best comparison is Deadman All-Stars, wherein a large OSRS content creator solo
It is crazy how I was right about everything. It really is. It's sad. It really is sad. It stores up air and pirate. Yeah, I know. It's scary. I said the most humble. Well, that I think that story shows my humility. Is because I knew people could not see the truth. People would not believe the truth even when it was explained to them, and they had to see it for their own eyes. And I waited because I was confident that I knew what would happen. And I was right.
teamed up with Jagex by obtaining a custom server wherein 35 of the largest content creators in the game created teams of 5 in a full PvP version of the game. Almost every area became dangerous.
Oh, that guy got fucked.
In these servers, all 35 creators had expedited experience rates and drops, and a bit over a week of time to gear up for the finale. A King of the Hill style one-on-one deathmatch where they, donning the gear they've collected, were put to the test against one another.
That's pretty cool.
The 10-day period that this event spanned was amongst the most fun in the game's history, as following the individual and group-wide achievements and battles became so many people's day-to-day habit. The battles fought, the gear lost, the upsets, the strategies, the drama. It felt like a condensed version of OnlyFans buoyed by each creator's personality, loudest of which was Odablock. Odablock is the largest.
It's crazy that I remember watching the drama with him and that girl, and at the beginning I was totally on that girl's side, and then after watching all of Odablock's videos, I realized that he was actually in fact right about everything.
Just old school RuneScape streamer. He, much like Tyler 1, is an abrasive, controversial figure with a huge fan base. He's also one of the best PvPers in the entire game. He was the captain for the Odablock Warriors, and throughout this event, they became, in some ways, the focal point, the core narrative.
Damn.
In the draft, Odablock recruited what was considered to be the strongest set of PvPers. They were the only ones capable of defeating the solo mission snakes, a team labeled as this season's villains. This was because they had a rather toxic player that received a yellow card for potentially stream sniping. This was made worse by this player's previous history of less than honorable behavior, to put it simply. On top of this, many
Still
felt as
roach.
though the Snakes didn't have a particularly fun way of playing, as they locked down a specific area of the game
Yep.
and farmed it, all the while taking on group fights to snowball their growing advantage. On the day
That's
of the
smart.
finale, tensions were high. Otoblock broke over 100,000 concurrent viewers, and simultaneously the old school and
Jesus.
RuneScape streams had a collective concurrent viewership
Yeah,
of
damn.
over 150,000.
Yeah, damn.
To say that this event gained traction would be an
That's
understatement.
insane.
As the Warriors began their first fight, it wasn't looking good. Good players fell early, and in this King of the Hill style system, the person who defeated the other remained in battle, granting the opposing team the ability to snowball an advantage. The cards
surprise
did
there.
not look to be in the Warriors' favor, but Otoblock himself hadn't yet stepped in the ring. As the bell rung and his character moved in, he disconnected. His entire home was DDoSed, and the competition, for a brief moment, was put on hold.
Of the Warriors, what can he do to claw this fight back?
Come on, you are
we got
Odablock. Play
DC.
like Odablock.
No, I think this is actually a tactical decision with
Really?
his sigils. Yeah, he's got the sigil of the
Interesting.
meticulous maid, so he's got that extra 40 accuracy bonus, so he can afford to sit in this tanky Varak skirt for some of the freezes.
That's
when
me
he
told.
knows.
Was it like instantly or after a little bit?
So, somebody did ask me, bro. It has to be because I didn't even start yet. I didn't even start yet. As soon as I crossed the border, I DC'd.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so fucking cringe. I don't know what to do. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to do because the phone, the hotspot just can't. It can't hold it. It can't hold.
Are you able to change house? People are spamming. I'm not sure if that's viable. Like, how long would it take you? If that could happen, how long would that take you?
I could try it. Yeah, I mean, maybe like 5 minutes. I could just run to a different house.
He rushed over to a friend's home, mouse and
What?
keyboard in hand, in an effort to continue the fight.
Oh my
However,
God.
it just wasn't the same. It is one thing to play on a friend's setup, and that alone doesn't feel great. But to do so in such a high-stakes, high-skill
Yeah.
competition, it's borderline impossible.
Yeah, he's cooked.
While he performed admirably, his misclicks were noticeable. The precision needed to play old
It's
school
not the same
RuneScape
mouse.
well is beyond any other MMO. So even a small change in setup create massive gaps in performance.
Yep.
Ultimately, the Warriors performed well, but they did not win. Their matches were the most watched, and in many ways, after their elimination, that story concluded.
Damn.
I bring up these two somewhat similar examples to showcase an overlap, a way to engage with the game that sometimes doesn't put the game first. This engagement uses it to uplift something else entirely, a community-driven event,
This always was the case, by the way, with WoW. Like, if you think about all of the old WoW moments, like, everybody remembers the Doomlord Kazakh going to, fucking Stormwind, right? Or the Serenity Now funeral raid, or, like, some of those other drama moments. Yeah, that was what it was all about, man.
creator-designed story a personally aspired to goal. The overlap between old school RuneScape and WoW Classic isn't systemic.
Yeah, the plague,
These
yeah.
games aren't similar. As Sodapoppin said while watching some OSRS videos, RuneScape is the bane for WoW players. It utilizes an entirely different skill set that doesn't translate. You'd think that would be a point of aversion, yet it isn't, because the point of connection is far more important for a lot of people. WoW players might be looking for something more permanent as they currently linger in the seasonal lull, a period
That's the reason why. I think that also there's another component to this too, that a lot of WoW players are now old. They're now old with gray hair, they're balding, and because of that, they don't have the same amount of time. Like, how many of you guys, really, you either had this happen personally or you knew somebody who this happened to, where you were raiding with this person and they got married, they had a kid, or they graduated college or something like that, and they stopped playing the game. Like, I remember a very fateful day at the end of Burning Crusade where my friend logged on and he said, guys, I have taken the intro to psychology in my university 3 times to meet girls. I've been there for 5 years. I'm still a junior. I'm quitting because I need to get my life together. This just can't keep going on. It's too much. I told this story in Legion. A guy recognized who I was talking about. The guy, it was a paladin named Talinor. He said Talinor got married. Yep. So he actually did it, and he quit the game, and he got married. He graduated college, he got married. And the thing is that
Good to see
the point is that a lot of people in WoW, their priorities have shifted, and as they've aged, they can't keep up with the seasonal model because the seasonal model requires consistent investment, and you can't just pick up where you left off. Like, for example, if I wanted to go play Black Myth Wukong again, or I wanted to play Metaphor ReFantasio again, I could immediately just pick up right where I left off. And I think that's why Classic WoW was so good. But when you're on a hamster wheel, the accomplishments that you make in the game are receding. And so once your accomplishments recede enough times, you lose interest in them. And I think that's what's happened. OSRS, you never lose progression. Like for me, like losing progression in a video game causes me to just quit the game. Because it deletes the idea in my mind that I'm working towards a goal.
Between when their progress finished and when they must start it all again. A point of reflection that surely has some ask, why
Quit
do
for
I
7 years,
want
come back, do
to
totally
do
fine.
it all again? To summarize, the lull that World of Warcraft is in currently, as every version of the game is between releases, has made its most prolific content creators branch out. This may not...
Here's another component that he might not be considering, is that WoW also is boring to watch now. Because people have seen the same thing for so long, they're tired of looking at it. And people that are content creators in WoW realize, like, I think that many of them want to do what Chance or what Mitch or what I do. And you're seeing guys like Zaryu and Peekaboo trying to take steps in that direction too, to try to move out of that small bubble that they exist in. So a lot of these guys don't want to just be locked into playing World of Warcraft for their whole life. And they want to be able to stream other games, but they can't do that because nobody will watch those other games. So as soon as, and you saw this with like Final Fantasy 14, is like as soon as I moved over to Final Fantasy 14, tons of other WoW streamers did it. And the reason why is because I got a lot of viewers doing it. The reality is that streamers will follow where the viewership is, and they will follow where people's attention is. And World of Warcraft in general, content about the game is, in my opinion, based off of like somebody who's been paying attention to it, it's at an all-time low. I forgot the last time that there was like a retail WoW clip that I watched that mattered. And even retail WoW, like the fucking Race to World First, I feel like is a shadow of what it was in, let's say, Battle for Azeroth. So it's clout chasing? Well, it's not clout chasing, it's just their job, right? I mean, they don't want to be locked into something that they can't, that's a dead end. And so you can't pigeonhole your career solely over one game, exactly. And so now WoW players, in the same way that Final Fantasy 14 was that in 2021, RuneScape now is that in 2025. So you're seeing a lot of WoW content creators moving away from World of Warcraft in the attempt to diversify their audience and give their stream a longer lifespan. That's also like, and they might not say that, right? People might not want to say that because it seems like it's like a business thing to say and it like kind of makes it seem inauthentic. But trust me when I say that this is true. It's absolutely true. And you do the same thing if you were them.
Be a permanent investment, but it surely is interesting to see. These two old titans of the industry are still rubbing shoulders, but the balance of power might have started to change. If there's ever a time to visit...
Your mom was right. My mom was right. In World of Warcraft, she quit the game in BFA. She said, Pathfinder? I already did that. You're telling me I have to do it again? But I already did it again in Legion. And now I have to do it 3 times? I gotta do the same thing? No, I don't. And she just quit. Straight up, over that. That was why she quit the game. She realized that she was on the hamster wheel.
School RuneScape,
Yeah,
it's
no, I
now
don't.
on the cusp of its largest update. The benefit of it being a curated sandbox is that each edition is additive. The game has only become larger with time. It doesn't cannibalize itself with seasonal content. That alone could be something interesting to players that have become so accustomed to being cannibalized. I was one of them, after all, tired of spending months earning what became cosmetic overrides devalued by a glut of cosmetic overrides. WoW felt like it was shrinking, not in player base per se, but as a world. With
the scope of the game becomes smaller. And now I feel like most people, if I watch most WoW streams, like retail WoW streams, they're either in an instance or in the city. There's no world of Warcraft. There's just menus of Warcraft.
Edition,
that's it.
With every update, the amount of land expands, but the relevant content only inhabits a smaller and smaller fraction of it. It was refreshing to step into a world as persistent as my kitchen and the roof over my head. The long-form nature of old school RuneScape's progression incentivized me to pursue the grind, rather than recoil from it, because I knew that every time I inched closer to my goal, that goal wouldn't leap ahead by miles every half year.
Oh my god. Yes. Fucking yes. Exactly. And as players have less time, and as the WoW audience is aging, I think that was one of the big appeals of Classic WoW, is that if you took a break in, let's say, Molten Core, and you came back, your next goal would still be BWL. Even if Nax was out at that time, your next step would be BWL.
It would remain, and a new goal would be added somewhere between or somewhere after. Retail doesn't offer a home, even when the developers are hard at work.
Classic Balance Realm, do you cave to casuals? What if I told you that this is the game that's made for casuals? Permanent, consistent, like ongoing progress is better for casuals than a seasonal model. A seasonal model keeps them on a hamster wheel. A casual model and a permanent model keeps them playing the game for a longer period of time, because they can come back and they won't lose progress. Do you know what really probably demoralizes casual players? Is when they come back to the game and they realize that everything that they did doesn't matter anymore. All of the gear, everything they worked for, all of their farming, everything is totally invalidated, and now the game is a totally different experience. That's the reason why.
On the player-owned housing system, because retail is as acommunal as possible.
Who cares?
There is almost no emergence within its body because the intent of the game has disconnected entirely from its roots as an MMORPG. There is no core leveling experience, no overworld organization, no coordination needed for anything that isn't small group instanced content. It's a game split down the middle, a single-player lonely adventure through a barren overworld, flitting between checklist slop and the next instance dungeon, and the instance dungeon itself. For those that love this about retail, the ability to hop into a game and in a weekend find yourself caught up to everyone else,
and here's also another component that I didn't mention, is that catching a player up is also overloading a new player with the amount of information and news. So like, for example, when you're playing Classic WoW, by the time that you get Fire Blast, you know how Fire Blast is going to fit into your rotation of using Frostbolt or Fireball. And when you get Frost Nova, it's like, oh shit, okay, now I know how to put all these together. But whenever you just start into the game and you get a boost to level whatever the fuck, and you have 30 different spells, how the fuck are you supposed to learn how all those things are supposed to fit together? Well, you don't. And that's the big problem, is that a lot of these games front load the players with too much information that, again, is bad for casuals. So the entire premise that giving players everything really fast is good for casuals, I think is absolutely counterproductive. And I think that it achieves the opposite outcome.
Perfect, and likely why most would feel alienated by RuneScape. On the other hand, Classic WoW offers a bountiful leveling experience. The heights of OnlyFangs were never the raids, they were the journey to get to them. the leveling of Classic is, for those who do it, amongst the best gaming
have to walk before
experiences
you run?
because it
Yeah.
effortlessly mixes flow state calm with heart pumping danger, especially on hardcore servers. Old school RuneScape is something different. It is a game on a separate path. Matt Season is a classic WoW content creator who has cataloged his journey
guy.
into old school RuneScape without guides, and for those who have
Jesus.
watched his videos have surely seen, Matt Season is pulling from game knowledge outside of his classic World of Warcraft pool because the skill set he obtained through WoW has not translated. But the appeal of slowly, often arduously
Mad Season and I used to do Battlegrounds together in Classic WoW. And he said that he always liked to do Battlegrounds with me because usually people would target him because he was like a popular content creator. But the one person that they wanted to kill even more than him was me. And so he could play the game and I would be the one getting targeted by everyone and he could just play and do his own thing. And so he's like, yeah, no, invite Asmund to honor farming. Yeah, definitely.
moving through the
was the Lich
world
King?
and
Yeah.
becoming lost in the maze of systems and incomprehensible functions has evoked feelings that leveling in Classic once did. Not today, when leveling has become expected and understood, but back then, before the re-release, when every
Yeah.
step felt fresh.
I really think this is a great video. I was glad that I watched this, and I think that I pretty much agree with everything he's saying. Yeah, I mean, I think that really, again, it's the entire premise, and it's the idea. Let me link you guys the video. I've never watched this guy's channel before. Theory-wise, he only has 10,000 subs, so give him a sub. Make sure to do that. And reminds me how disappointing WoW is. Well, do you guys see my point that I'm making about how in World of Warcraft you have like this ever-evolving hamster wheel, and people just get tired of running, but in RuneScape, you can walk, and eventually you make actual progress. So, like, you have a hamster wheel, and you're going really, really fast, but you're never going anywhere. Whereas in RuneScape and other games that are like that, like Classic WoW was like that, is that you're walking, but eventually you get to where your destination is. And I think that it's so tired of lame seasons, get new gear. Yeah, eventually you'll get there. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really, yeah, if you get off the hamster wheel, you lose your shit. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really what it is in general. And he admits the mistakes and was afraid, or Ian admits he made mistakes and was afraid. Well, as I said, I mean, I was right about all of my criticisms of WoW. The developers wouldn't listen to me. Nobody ever wanted to listen to me. Everybody said that I was wrong, but I was vindicated and right about everything. And I've been proven right more and more every single day. That's just how it is. That's just the way it is. And I listen, like Pan Bounty is stepping down, someone said. Well, we'll see what happens, right? And yeah, I don't know about that. And you stayed humble about it? I did. And this is the reason why I stopped. Well, it's one of the reasons why I stopped making WoW content. Is I realized that WoW players, what World of Warcraft had happen is that it distilled its player base down into the people who actually like Mythic Plus. They actually like seasonal instanced raiding. And this is now their audience. These are the people that now want to play the game. So I became a minority in my own game. Originally, like whenever I played World of Warcraft for the first time in 2006, it was July of 2006, I think. Might have been June, but I think it was July. I started playing the game, and I thought to myself, this game was made for me. They programmed, designed, and made this game exclusively just for me. And now, I feel like the game is made for everybody except me. And I felt like really that changed in BFA. I felt like BFA and Shadowlands, it was no longer made for me anymore. Will I ever try old school RuneScape? I don't know if I would or not. I mean, I really don't know. I recall you adamantly saying people play OS or S for nostalgia. Now it seems like you understand what Jimmy was saying about the game. It's not nostalgia, it's constant. What do you think about that now? Is it just nostalgia? I think that obviously nostalgia is really important, and I think that denying that nostalgia plays a huge role in OS or S's popularity is not true. And I feel like if you released a game like OSRS today, would it have the same success that OSRS has now? I don't think so. But again, it's the same with Classic WoW. If Classic WoW was released today, would it be as popular as it was in 2004? No, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be a good game and it wouldn't do well. So, like, I think it's a matter of nostalgia does play a big role, but the game quality has to be there for that nostalgia to really stick. And I think that with OSRS and also with Classic WoW, I think the nostalgia did stick. And also another reason why is because the way that they've updated OSRS, I think has been very beneficial and positive. And so that's another reason. Have you heard of Brighter Shores? They re-released it with newer graphics. It flopped. Brighter Shores is dead as fuck. Yeah, like I've got to tell you guys, nostalgia really goes hard. It's super important. And I don't think that enough people pay enough attention to it and respect it enough. And even if it's not direct nostalgia, there's like things that are kind of reminiscent of that. Would you say the losers of 15 years ago today in 2025 would want a new MMO like OSRS or Classic WoW? Yeah, I do think that a lot of young guys do want to have a new MMO like this that they can play. But I think that what's changed is that because you can make a living playing video games nowadays, the meta of playing video games to get something out of it or to get some sort of validation, I think that it's changed. And I think that now games like Fortnite, games like whatever the popular PvP game flavor of the month is, that is the game now that a lot of young guys flock to because they know that if they play that game competitively really well, they can get attention for themselves and be successful. And so at the end of the day, it's the same impulse, but in a different direction. And so you have guys that are now like, you know, like that one kid that won that book. I think his name was like Booger or something like that. Butta, who won like $3 million playing Fortnite. And he was like 15 or 16 years old. That was insane, right? And so how many other kids that were around the same age saw that and they said to themselves, okay, well, I want to start playing Fortnite so I can be acknowledged in that same way. Well, the reality is that that's the same reason why people used to play World of Warcraft. It was because they wanted to be able to be acknowledged and respected as individuals. Because when you're a kid, you're not taken seriously by anybody. Nobody gives a fuck what you think. Nobody gives a fuck what you say. None of it matters at all. And so now, whenever you have players and people like this that they're able to focus on that, Dota 2, bro? Yeah, Dota 2 definitely is another good example. Well, what I'm saying is that the proliferation of competitive and esports gaming has given those same guys that were like me, like if I was a kid nowadays, what game would I want to play? Probably Fortnite. Yeah, I would say probably Fortnite. Realistically, or Minecraft. Well, I don't know enough about maybe Roblox. I just don't know enough about Roblox to really say Fortnite fell off. No, it didn't. That's crazy. You seem like a Roblox kid. I never liked I never liked the one. I seriously think that that OSRS moment-to-moment gameplay is at a high level, held up much better in time than Classic WoW gameplay has. If anything, I'm a bigger lifelong WoW simp than OSRS. I played OSRS for only 9 months. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I definitely do. I mean, like, I think that with this game, like, you just have, like, there's a level
After
of...
all,
sorry about that. There is a level of... Like, I mean, this armor set, I think, for a good example, like, Classic WoW armor sets were very stylized and very cool. And I think that now retail WoW armor sets are not like that at all. They're just not as cool as they used to be. I work with kids 16 to 22, and they all seem to flock to Fortnite, Apex, and COD. Well, the reason why is because those games are the games where you can be acknowledged for being a good player. I think that a lot of people don't understand the value that a young guy gets out of being acknowledged for being good at something for the first time in their life. And I think that video games provide that first chance for a guy to be able to do that. The thing is, the armor is insanely hard to get. It's literally 0.01% of the player base that have it. Well, that's why it matters. Yeah, that's it. Reaction time is better when you're younger. Yeah, definitely that's it too. OSRS acknowledges you for being good. Yeah, of course. At what point do you draw the line between people playing OSRS because they yearn for a good game design like in the past versus it's just nostalgia? I don't think you can divide the two. I think that it's a confluence of things. People like the old school graphics. People probably also like the style. There's probably people that stick around with the game because they played it for 15 years. Like you have, it's the same as WoW. Like if WoW got released today, would it still be as transcendent of a success as it is now? No, probably not. And so that's really, most people can't even do the Inferno. Well, yeah, I guess. What's so wrong with nostalgia? Well, it's important to understand what nostalgia is, so you don't think that the quality of the game is the one thing that's carrying it, right? It's not like your reaction time goes down by seconds when you suddenly hit 40. Yeah, but like when you're 38, you probably are at a disadvantage against someone who's 17 whenever you're playing a competitive shooter. And whenever the time to kill in those competitive shooters is like 1 or 2 seconds, that does make the difference. It absolutely does. Like, think about, like, I always think about this while I'm driving. Think about how much happens every second while you're driving. A lot happens in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot can happen inside of that 1 second. And so, like, really, yeah. So, like, you really have to think about inside of fucking, like, like a millisecond. Or, like, 10, like, you know, 1/10 of a second, basically. Same with fighting games? Yeah, definitely. The hard drive is full at 38? Yeah, sure. You can compensate in other ways if the difference is noticeable. Yeah, obviously, reaction time is mostly genetics. Age is not the most important factor. Well, I didn't say it was the most important factor. I said it was a factor, and it is a factor. And even the person with genetically good reaction time will have genetically worse, will have age, that same person's reaction time will be worse at 38 than it was at 17, and it'll probably be even worse at 58 than it was at 38. So obviously every single person exists on a spectrum, but that doesn't mean that the spectrum doesn't follow trends according to age. That's all I'm saying. Age is a massive factor. Yeah, I think so in a lot of cases, except just like your hearing is. Yeah, it's a spectrum. And so anyway, I think that's one of the big reasons why RuneScape is popping off. And I think also, like, if I look right now, like what's happening in World of Warcraft today, let's find out. So we've got, let's see what's happening in the game, and we will go viewers high to low. This is classic WoW again, retail WoW. There's only 2 people that have more than 1,000 viewers. Again, like you just look at the game, it's just, it's so hard to even understand. What the fuck is even going on? Like I'll wait for them to do something and then you're going to see what happens, right? Well, New World is dead. New World is super fucking dead. Like, nobody's playing that game anymore. It's pretty much done. So, yeah, I don't think that's it at all. So, the game, there's too much noise. Yeah, there's just too much happening. There's too much stuff going on. And it's just too complicated. And we're number 2 on Warcraft's directory in offline mode. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like, that's really not a big surprise to me at all. And so my guild was like my family. Do you think WoW needs to die? No, I don't think WoW needs to die. I mean, definitely not. But like, if you look, like just give it a second here, and we'll look at like what's happening on the screen, because usually this is one of the. I think they do a big pull at the beginning, right? Usually they do. Like this, if this is like the way they used to do the fight. Okay, yeah. Watch what's happening on the screen. This is insane. Complete sensory overload. You can't see shit. Yeah. There's too much happening. Look at this. Yeah, visual diarrhea. Yeah, and like... It's not even about the numbers being big or small, like they're doing 16 million, 20 million DPS. That doesn't matter. Like if the numbers were like doing 20 or 60 DPS, it would be the same problem. There are just too many things happening on the screen and too much going on in order for people to understand at all what's happening. And it's completely unapproachable for anybody who's like a casual player. And like if you compare this to nobody's even playing the game, they're all fucking opening cases. Okay, well let me get a better example. Okay, well let's look at Valorant, for example. If you look at Valorant, it's very obvious what's happening in the game. She just shot somebody. It's simple. And then she just got shot. It's simple, right? That's the difference. Is that a lot of these games are just totally fucking unwatchable. And that's the big reason why I think that a lot of people are losing interest in those types of content. The cam shake when shooting. Well, what I'm saying is, like, even with, let me pull up another example. Let's see. We'll look at, well, let's actually just look at Counter-Strike. I'll look at Counter-Strike and we'll find somebody who's actually playing the game. Okay, so we've got, let's see. How about this guy right here? This guy looks like a guy just playing Counter-Strike. Yeah. This is very, very simple. You have a guy with a gun, and there's somebody shooting him from the smoke. Valorant's very cluttered a lot of the time. Yes, I know that, but compared to WoW, it's not. Extremely simple game. And so, like, as a viewer, in my opinion, I think Counter-Strike is the chess of esports. I think that in 10, 20, 50 years, people will still be playing Counter-Strike on Dust 2, and there will still be a big audience for it. Definitely. The game is loved. Yeah, exactly, right? And the reason why is because it's easy to understand. That's the other really big factor that a lot of people don't really pick up on. Gavin stays winning. Yeah, exactly. I'll be 70 years old. Yeah. And this is the thing. And so, like, you can very easily see what's happening in each of these rounds. And I think that that's the reason why a game like that is so successful. And then if you compare that, like, for example, let me look at some other popular games that are going on right now. Let's see. Are there any other, like, actual, like, games that people are playing? Not really. Nobody's playing video games anymore. League? Just pull this one up. This is still complicated, but it's infinitely less complicated than World of Warcraft. And it's also the same level of complicated for everybody. So, for example, the amount of complexity that you're looking at right here is the same amount of complexity that everybody else will be seeing also. So, another big issue with WoW is that everybody has their own... Everybody has, like, their own UI in WoW, which makes the game even harder to approach and understand as a casual player. And so, like you're watching this guy play the game, which is going to be very different than watching another guy play the game. Yeah, the setup for it, right? And so it's just difficult to understand at all. And I'll see if this is even Classic WoW. Yeah, and you can see Classic WoW still has the same problem, but the problem is much less obvious. It's a lot simpler and easier to understand. And I think that's one of the big differences that people need to understand about the two games.
I can't use that. I can't use that.
I can't use this yet.
I'll put that to good use.
I'll put that to good use. put that to good use. I'll put that to good use.
Not here.
I'll put that to good use. Good day.
Greetings.
Good day. Greetings. Yes?
Yes?
Good day. I can't carry anymore. overburdened. I can't carry anymore. Not enough mana. I can't carry anymore.
Hello. Greetings.
Greetings.
Thanks.
I need mana. I am overburdened.
Good day.
Yes.
Not enough mana.
Greetings. Yes?
Good day.
What can I do for you?
Overburdened. I can't carry anymore. I need mana.
Good day.
Greetings.
gotta kill that bitch. Are they all dead now? Yeah, they are. Okay, let's go.
Warning. Self-destruct initiates in 10 seconds.
Oh shit. That's Megatron.
Release this. Initiate re-entry sequence.
Initiating atmospheric re-entry sequence.
Wait, oh, that's me.
Assault from hostile
Oh,
colossal
shit.
Striker. Induced sword offline. Switch to energy autocannon.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot him.
Charge energy autocannon.
Can I shoot him?
Short range damage. Enemy targets detected. Adjust manually to lock.
Okay.
Fire control radar unstable.
Kill him.
Keep target
Get his
located
ass.
on
Get his
radar.
ass. Get his ass. Where's his ass?
System will assist once a target is locked.
What an idiot, bro. That guy's garbage.
Evade incoming attack.
Who the fuck is talking?
Detected outside.
Okay. That was easy. Pretty simple.
Enemy targets detected.
Okay. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? I mean, how do I get around? How do I get around that? I mean, I'm not. There's no way I'm gonna get hit by that, right? I mean, there's a 0% chance. I'm a battle master. That doesn't happen. I'm popping off now. Oh, that's cool.
System overheating.
Oh shit.
Rebooting system. Fluid armor depleted.
Oh shit.
Integrity at critical level.
Oh, I'm almost dead.
A little wear and tear. You're growing on me.
I gotta get back in there. But listen to this music. Holy shit. Do I go through this? Oh, wait, I killed this guy.
Integrity at threshold. Proceed to initiate
Okay.
armor and warning.
Is there anybody else? No, they're dead.
Threshold. Proceed to initiate armor
Okay.
and warning.
3?
Armor integrity
Oh.
at threshold.
Oh, I didn't read it.
Proceed to initiate armor airdrop now.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
Enemy targets detected. Attack with energy autocannon inflicts
Energy.
damage.
Oh.
Armor installed. All
Well, I don't
weapon
want to use that. It's a
restrictions
piece of shit. Where's my sword?
Hello, everyone. This is Jason Connell and
Hi,
Nick
Jason.
Fox from Sucker Punch Productions. Ghost of Tsushima was an honor to be a part of.
Oh.
And today, Nate and I get to share more about our next game, Ghost of Yote.
Oh.
We'll be sharing how we've crafted the game around exploration while keeping Atsu's
Okay.
tale of vengeance front and center.
Seems decent.
We'll also talk about ghost combat and how it's evolved. And we'll introduce for the first time some new special modes of play. But let's start things off first by talking about a Japanese folk legend, the Onryo.
And Oniro. Okay.
The people of Ezo believe Atsu is an Onryo. A wrathful ghost bent on revenge. And they're half right.
Oh, shit.
Atsu doesn't care if she lives or dies, so long as she
Atsu?
can punish the Yote Six, a ruthless gang who slaughtered her family.
Damn.
After 16 years in the South, she's returned home to put their
Again, you are like focused on individuals. You are not focused on teams. Because no one's gonna care who is gonna fight from the flyweight division, who is gonna be your representative from the flyweight division or from the lightweight division. I'm like, maybe I bring you Islam, that I have him in my team, or also I could have Charles Oliveira in the same team, or maybe I bring Charles Oliveira because I think that against your team, the guy you have in the lightweight division, Charles does it better.
Right. They do that with grappling, like Quintet. They do that. They have like grappling teams. Yeah, I mean that would be interesting. There's certain fighters like my main regret in MMA that we never got to see Fedor fight in the UFC when he was in his prime.
That's true.
If I could have one fight in their prime, Fedor, Cain Velasquez.
Oh, that would be a great fight.
Oh my God.
Great
in
fight.
their prime. That would have been incredible.
Great.
Incredible.
Actually, Cain was an amazing fighter.
Bro, that guy had a gas tank that was superhuman.
Yeah.
So for a heavyweight, it didn't even make any sense. You would see guys just fall apart. They would just wilt.
Pure boxing style.
Pure
also.
boxing style, great wrestling, incredible chin, and just indomitable will. Too tough for his own good, which is why he wound up, like, towards the end of his career, his body had deteriorated so much.
Yeah.
He had so many back injuries, neck injury, shoulder injury, knee injury. There was
Actually, what's going on with him? He's in jail right now. He's not.
Yeah, he got sentenced. He got sentenced to 5 years, and the judge said this was the least amount he could sentence him. He didn't want to sentence him.
Well, what happened to him? Do you know that? No.
Yes. So Cain's son was going to daycare, and there was a man who molested him at daycare. Cain found out about it, chased the man in his car, and shot at him. He tried to catch him in his car and shot at him. Cain gets arrested. Cain stayed in jail. The guy gets arrested, and he got out on bail. I don't know what's happening with the guy. I don't know if he's been sentenced yet or what. But this guy molested his son multiple times. I don't know how many times. But he did what every father would have done. If you're not a father, you do not understand the murderous rage you would have if some man molested your baby. You don't understand. It's you would see red in a way that no one can describe to you unless you're a parent. That fucking anger is, I mean, if there's ever a plea for temporary insanity, that's the plea. If there's ever a person who could justifiably say, I was temporarily insane, it's a father that's chasing after someone, especially a man, who molests your boy.
Wow. Yeah.
Everybody understands it. Everybody understands it. He should have never gone to jail. He's not a threat to society. He's not a danger. He shouldn't be in prison.
No.
And he already did 3 years. He was already in jail for 3 years.
And he has been a great example for so many upcoming guys, like for the new generation.
Yes.
I don't know why guys like him have to end up in the jail for something like that.
Exactly.
He didn't rob anyone. He didn't.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Crazy.
It's horrific. It's horrific. You know, I mean, I just don't understand it. It's I mean, the judge's hands were tied. He had to make a sentence, and this is I think the minimum amount. They were trying to give him 30 years. Yeah, for attempted murder, because he was just shooting at this guy. And obviously, when you're driving and shooting, you could miss him and kill a bystander. You know, it's very dangerous. But also, the guy was in a murderous rage for a good reason. For a good reason. And if he killed that guy, the world would be better off. That's my feeling.
That's
my
true.
feeling.
That's also
Yeah.
true.
A guy like that walking around and molest children should be dead. That's just my feeling. All this thought of, I mean, there's a bunch of people on the left here in the United States that they have this crazy way of looking at pedophiles. They call them minor attracted persons. They want to make it a protected class and say it's, you know, it's like someone being attracted to someone of the opposite sex or someone being attracted to someone of the same sex. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. You're victimizing children, the most vulnerable and protected people that we have.
Of course, you can't even talk to the kids about something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About like, I heard so many crazy things about that topic that.
I know.
Let's leave it right there.
Leave it right there. We'll just get in trouble. Yeah, I mean, kill them all. That's how I feel. Kill them all. Anybody who wants to do that to children, there's no reason for them to exist. This society, I mean, yeah, you're just gonna ruin lives, and not just their lives, but you're gonna ruin all the people whose lives they ruin, because they're all fucked up now. You know, you kill so much potential from a human being to do that to a baby. It's just insane. It's just fucking insane. So that's unfortunately the story with Kane right now. And, you know, he was out for a while, and once they let him out, he was coaching at AKA, and, you know, he's an amazing coach. And
We hope that they're gonna think it again, and they're gonna give him the freedom he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Trump pardons him. I mean, that's what I really hope.
I hope so
Dana
too.
makes something happen with that. Maybe that's possible. I mean, that might be the best option. But anyway, in his prime, Cain Velasquez versus Fedor. That's my biggest regret. A fight that we never got to see. Because when Fedor was fighting in Pride, you know, and this is before the UFC was really huge, right? Because they were huge in Japan in like 2001, 2002. They were filling stadiums in Japan when the UFC was just sort of emerging in the United States. It really hadn't hit its peak until 2005.
And why do you think that they never bring him to the UFC?
Well, they tried.
Yeah.
But I got to be careful how I say this. So Fedor was controlled by some Russian people that were very rough men.
Okay.
As it were, you know, gangster type characters. And they had a bunch of negotiations with the UFC, but they were very unreasonable demands. Like they wanted part of the promotion. They wanted to own a piece of everything. They wanted a lot because they knew that with Fedor they had their golden ticket and they wanted to play it out as much as possible.
Okay.
The negotiations were very intense and very, very confrontational. They got bad where Dana had to up his security. It got pretty, yeah, it got heavy. Yeah. These are dangerous people. These were dangerous people. It got, yeah. I can tell you more off air. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that story.
I'll tell you more off air. You should talk to Dana about it. It got crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. They were rough
That's
dudes.
why.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, like, why they don't bring that guy to the UFC? Because it's gonna be so fun for the fans.
They wanted to co-promote. They wanted to be a part of the promotion. They wanted more than they deserved. They didn't just want Fedor to get paid. They wanted to get paid. They wanted to make a lot of money, and they wanted to get their hooks into the UFC.
Got you.
Yeah, Russian gangsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it from their
crazy
perspective
how
too.
they rule like everything.
Well, Pride was run by the Yakuza, you know, so it was Japanese gangsters and Russian gangsters. They speak the same language. You know, it was, they got along fine. But then when they came over to the UFC was like, that's not the place. Do it over here. No, we'll give them a lot of money. Yeah. We want them to fight in the UFC, and it never took place, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, so he's about to fight again. Fedor's going to fight bare knuckle.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, I think
they,
Connor's promotion. I think
Yeah.
it's Connor's promotion, that BKFD.
Actually, do you think he's gonna come back, Connor?
If I had a bet? No.
Yeah. No.
I don't
Why?
think he's back. Because he hasn't come back yet. And he could have. You know, if he really wanted to, he would have been back in the gym, had a fight scheduled, drug tested, clean, training, gone through a camp, had a fight. Like, he had a broken toe before the first fight with Chandler. I understand that. Okay. Why should you fight in a broken toe, especially a guy who moves a lot like Connor? He relies on movement so much. Yeah, I get it. So heal that toe up. What's that? That's 2 months. Broken toe is 2 months.
Yeah.
And so then you're back in camp. And then you reschedule a fight, and then you fight again. But he didn't. And also, partying, constant partying, all these legal problems that he has, you know, scooting around on yachts and, you know, driving around a Lamborghini. He's wealthy.
He's done.
Maybe. I mean, what's really sad is if he comes back when he's like 39 or 40 and his body just doesn't have it anymore, you know?
So right now he actually has a great opponent, Mike Chandler. He could fight him.
Right. They could fight right now, yeah.
They could fight. Because if they put him against Paddy, I think Paddy beats him easy now.
Well,
you don't think so?
A lot of years off, right? A lot of years off. You know, on the feet, Connor's a motherfucker.
No, in the feet, he's a motherfucker. I know that. He
Yeah.
can knock out like everyone.
If he's still the same guy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's 36 now, you know? And if he's natural, also, reality. Okay, when he breaks his leg, he gets off the drug testing, right? Because he's got to do something to heal his leg quicker. So what is he going to do? Well, you're going to take steroids. So if you're going to take steroids and you're already 34-ish, your endocrine system gets fucked up by taking steroids, where your body stops producing testosterone. Okay. So I've had explained to me by scientists before, and essentially, say if you take steroids for 6 months, you need at least 6 months before your body starts producing testosterone at a normal level again. Okay. Some people think it's twice as long. So that would be a year of no steroids before your body regains its natural testosterone levels. If it does. Depending, if it does.
You think that if someone puts steroids in his body, he never comes back as his normal body?
Vitor Belfort is the best example of this, right? He's the best guy that we can use as an example.
But he took a bunch of steroids.
He took
steroids.
Luke Rockhold said when he was weighing in, when he fought him, he said, "This guy's got muscles on his fucking teeth."
Yeah, on his mouth. Exactly, bro.
He was shredded. But if you go back to Vitor when he fought Anderson Silva, before they had testosterone use exemptions, he didn't look like that at all.
No, he looked old, actually. He looked like his body was relaxed.
Soft.
Yeah,
because
like
Vitor, So this is look at the difference before you saw it and after you saw it. I mean, that is a crazy example. So when he fought Chris Weidman, his body looked soft and like his muscles look empty. They just didn't look the same, and that was just a couple of years after they fucked up with the testosterone use exemption, because what they did was they would test guys, and if you're low on testosterone, you can have a testosterone use exemption. But you could get low on testosterone in a night if you wanted to. All you'd have to do is eat a bunch of shitty food and drink and stay up all night, and your body's natural levels of testosterone would be low. So you could go get drug. You, who has normal, healthy levels of testosterone, you could wreck your body on purpose, then go get drug tested, and they say, "Oh, Ilya, you have low testosterone. I'm going to prescribe you testosterone exemption." And so then you go and take testosterone, and you become a fucking animal, and you're healthy. You don't need it. So there was a lot of guys that were taking it that didn't need it.
So you think that at this point there are guys in the UFC that are taking like steroids? Let's say steroids.
I would imagine there's for sure someone doing something they're not supposed to do. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know, because at this point I feel that they are so strict with the.
They are
but
so strict. There's a lot of guys that do their camps in faraway lands, and I think that like people always used to joke around about Dagestan. You know, like try getting a USADA guy into Dagestan. You know? The moment he lands,
they did
everybody's gonna
some
call everybody.
drug test in Dagestan. they test Khabib, for example, in Dagestan now.
I'm sure.
Yeah?
I'm sure they must have.
And what if someone landed
Wasn't there
from
an
USADA?
issue where some guys from USADA and Khabib's camp, they had like...
They had some issue.
Some issue, yeah.
They had some, I remember, like something like that. But
you go over there, like, and, you know, you want to get out, you got to be careful.
Nah, you get out.
Yeah. But I would imagine that if you want to avoid being tested all the time, like say, like if you are in America and, you know, you live in Arizona, whatever, they'll visit you all the time. They'll test you a bunch, you know.
Yeah.
And there's some people that have been tested a bunch. They get tested a lot. And then some people that don't get tested as much. And if you're going to go and do your camp in Thailand, or you're going to go do your camp in Dagestan, or it's a lot more difficult to get to you to test you randomly.
Yeah, but they can anyway.
They
so
can.
You can trust on if they come or not.
But there's short-acting stuff. There's like when Alex Rodriguez, is that his A-Rod, right? Yeah, when he was fighting, or excuse me, when he was playing baseball, rather, they were taking gummies, testosterone gummies.
Okay.
And the testosterone literally only lasts for a few hours, and it's out of your system.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah, there's certain stuff that you can take, like EPO, that's very short-lasting, very difficult to test, very short-lasting. And there's
yeah, in my case, I don't like that because I wouldn't feel good with myself.
Right.
I'm gonna feel like I'm cheating.
Right.
I don't deserve the win because I'm cheating. I'm a cheater.
Right.
I can have that thought about myself all the time. When I walk inside the octagon, I feel that I didn't cheat, and I deserve the win, and that's why I'm gonna win.
Well, that's why guys like BJ Penn are so impressive, because BJ Penn was clean when everybody was cheating.
Yeah.
Because back then, it was really difficult to test. All they tested was at the weigh-ins. So at the weigh-ins, that's like an intelligence test. Like if you cheat and take steroids intelligently, by the time you get to the weigh-ins, you're going to be clean. If you do it with a doctor,
okay.
I know camps, and I want to say the names, but they had scientists working for the camps. And the scientists, these doctors, would study guys' blood work and make sure that they were clean by the time they got into camp or by the time they got into the weigh-ins. So that when they were on the scale, they still had all the benefits of steroids, but they had no steroids in their system.
Yeah.
And their body hadn't started to deteriorate yet from the lack of steroids.
I know some camps also that they use steroids.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, for me, you can have all the muscles in the world, but if you are not mentally strong, because that's a so specific moment when you are in the backstage, you need your mind so badly. You need it more than your body sometimes. Because, as I told you, you can have all the muscles in the world, but you need this muscle as strong as possible, you know?
And if you know you cheated.
And if you know you're cheating, that you are not in what you in reality are saying that you are.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't wanna see myself in that situation, never.
That's a champion's mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real champion's mindset. Some guys, they just want to do anything to win. They want to do anything to win. And if they have to cheat to win, they'll cheat. They'll justify it by saying everybody cheats.
Yeah, I'm a God believer, and my mindset is like, of course I want to win. I prepare myself to win, but if he destroys my plans, is because maybe my plans could destroy me. So I don't want to have anything because I want to have it. If he decides it, if God decides to give it to me, I accept it. I will do everything to get it because I decided from all my heart. And if he says that if I desire it, I have the faith, I will get it. So this.
And the reality is, if you give everything you have and you lose, you win a lesson. And you realize you're not at the level that you need to be.
There's never a lose. Or you win or you learn. And learning is also a winning.
Right. Where did you develop your mindset? Have you got any mental coaching? Did you read books on psychology?
I read a lot of books. I try to read at least 30 minutes a day. But it's every day. Every day. What you do in your daily habits, it what makes the difference, right? Because we can decide our future, but we can decide our habits, and our habits decide our future.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, what kind of stuff do you read?
I read more like I read a lot of books. I love reading books of self-development books. Also, how can I tell you? And yeah, this is the most of the books I read. Self-development books. I read biographies of the people that I like. For example, Donald Trump, Warren Buffett. I read that kind of people.
Businessmen.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you read businessmen's biographies?
Because at the end of the day, right now I'm in sports, but at some point I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna I have to make a living from something, right? Because I'm not gonna be fighting my whole life, and I don't want it even. So yeah, I wanna prepare myself.
So
if you wanna have an extraordinary life, you have to be an extraordinary person, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm trying to become an extraordinary person.
In all walks of life.
In all walks of life.
Yeah. So, do you have an idea of when you want to retire? How old are you now?
Till I enjoy 28.
28.
28. Till I enjoy. I don't know how many fights. Maybe till 32, 34.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Till I enjoy. Right now I'm enjoying. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
So you'll take that road when it comes.
What do you mean?
You'll find when that happens, when you no longer enjoy, then you will go on a different path. Then you will retire.
I don't know. Right now, I want to become a lightweight world champion. I want to hold that belt too. So I don't know what's going to happen then. If I'm going to keep motivated, it's kind of difficult. This is a fight game is so hard because you have to go in and take someone's head off, and you can't be that soft guy, you know what I mean, like that kind guy. You have to be, you gotta have that testosterone up.
You gotta be vicious.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta be technical, you gotta be smart, but you also have to be vicious.
And at the same time, everyone from my family is involved in my career. You know, at some point maybe I will end up do different things, maybe some businesses. Right now I'm doing different things and I'm enjoying it also.
So you're doing different things outside of fighting?
Yeah, I have a promotion in Spain right now.
Oh, an MMA promotion?
MMA promotion.
What's it called?
Whoa. And the goal with Whoa is to because as you mentioned,
when you say Whoa, how you spelling that?
Way of the Warrior.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So from Spain to get to the UFC before was so difficult. I had to do so many crazy things to get to the UFC. But right now, we create Whoa, and we are in the UFC Fight Pass. Everyone can get in that promotion fight. If you have the skills, if you are ready, someone's going to see you, and they're going to sign you in the UFC.
The promoter's life is a hard life. That's a hard job.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
It's very entertaining, to be honest.
When I talked to Dana, at least promoting for the UFC, like I was talking to him this weekend, and he was telling me all the issues that they're having, and with different fights. Because I was asking him some questions, like, what are you doing with this? What are you doing with that? And he starts telling me, oh, this guy wants that, and this is I want to fight this guy.
Did he tell you something about me?
Maybe a little bit. If he did, I can't tell you. I did ask who you're going to fight, and they said we're working on things. But he was actually specifically talking about what happens if Bilal wins. You know, because Islam and Bilal, they've been talking about Islam fighting Bilal.
That's going to happen.
I would like that to happen if Bilal wins, but that's an if. Jack Della Maddalena is a bad motherfucker. He's good, man. Yeah. That guy's good.
Even if he wins, they're going to make that fight happen against Islam.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, if Jack Della Maddalena wins, then Jack is the new welterweight champion. And, you know, maybe he fights Islam. That makes a lot of sense. The problem with Islam fighting Bilal is that they train together. And I think, you know, they had kind of said
how many guys we see fighting between each other that they used to train before?
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think they should fight.
Yeah, they should fight.
I definitely think they should fight. I think Khabib doesn't like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel. But it's not just that. I mean, Jaina's always putting out a million fires. I mean, think about it. They have 500 fighters in the roster at least, and you know, there's all these things that are happening, and like the Arman Sarukian thing. Like his back hurts the day of the fight. He's got to pull out. Like, this is fucking crazy. This is, you know what I mean? Like, imagine that. You have this whole promotion based around this elite fighter who fought Islam in his first fight, short notice. They go to a very close decision, a very close fight. Arman's gotten a lot better. Islam's gotten a lot better. Then they're going to fight again, and then the day of, he hurts his back. Crazy.
It happens, yeah. Very crazy.
Yeah.
But if you will be in the Dana's place, who would be my next opponent?
Islam. 100%. 100%.
I wish they
I tried to
did
tell him
fight.
that this weekend.
That would be a great fight.
Yeah, that's the fight to make. Because you have a world champion versus a world champion. Like, if anybody deserves a fight for the world title in the next weight class, it's you. It's simple. It's simple.
Yeah.
You knocked out Max Holloway. I mean, it's simple. You knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, one of the greatest of all time. It's simple. That's a no-brainer. That's the fight. You know, he doesn't want to fight 45 anymore. He wants to fight 55. World title shot. I mean, nobody would argue with that. That would be a huge fight. Everybody would get excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they make that fight happen.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't have any say. Like I said, I'd get rid of the cage. I'd get rid of stand-ups. I'd fuck everything up for them. I would make it less marketable. Probably. I would.
Anyways, if they give me the fight with Charles, it's going to be a good one. Also.
That's a great fight too. That's a great fight too. There's a lot of guys in that division.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good fights for you at 155 pounds. Do you have a timeline of when you would like to fight at 155?
I would like to fight with Islam, that's for sure. I would like to fight him.
But if they don't give you that fight, if they give you like a #1 contender fight, when would you like to fight next?
I wouldn't fight for a #1 contender
Really?
fight. No.
You only want to fight for the title?
Yeah, of course.
Really? Okay.
Of course.
Yeah, I understand. That makes sense to me. Look, also, it's the most marketable fight. Everybody else has lost to it. Right?
I don't care if Islam decides that he doesn't want to fight me. I don't care. I said, till you're going to have to fight me. Okay? You say that you are the world champion, you're going to keep dominating the division, all that. I'm here. You can't keep avoiding me all the time.
So you would just sit on the sidelines rather than fight someone else?
I don't think that they're going to do that. I don't think they would put me on a sideline because they asked me to. I vacate the belt because I told them that I wouldn't fight in 145 again. But I get the promise that I would fight for the title in my next fight.
Mm-hmm.
So how much time you will stop me and from the fighting?
So they did give you a promise that your next, when you vacated the belt, that your next fight was
If they give that chance to everyone, why not to me?
Yes.
They gave it to Henry Cejudo, they gave it to Conor McGregor, they gave it to George St. Pierre, they gave it to John, they gave it to everyone.
Right. Yep.
And I proved that I deserve that shot. As you said, I knock out
two of the all-time greats.
Two of the all-time greats. To the great Walk, who was like dominating everyone in 145 division, and Max Holloway. Great fighters, both of them.
Especially after Max Holloway's victory over Justin Gaethje, which is like the greatest victory of his career. Yeah, to knock him out after that.
No one did it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'd say world title fight. I don't get to make the rules.
And the last fight he had was in 155,
right,
against Justin Gaethje, who also fought for the title.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and then the other thing is there's not really a compelling challenger at 155 other than you. If you look at it, like he's kind of cleaned out the division. There's no one else. I mean, Arman's got to build himself back up.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a title shot.
I would put Justin Gaethje against Paddy Pimblett, me against Islam. Once I pass him, I get the title, and you put me against Paddy. Because I think that he's gonna.
You think Paddy's gonna beat Justin Gaethje?
Easy.
Wow. Easy. Really easy?
Yeah, easy.
Really easy?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a crazy thing to say because Justin Gaethje's a fucking animal.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to grapple, and Paddy knows.
But he's a Division I wrestler. He knows how to grapple. You don't think he knows how to grapple? He just chooses not to. He chooses to stand and fight.
I don't think so. Did you ever saw him submitting someone?
I don't believe he's ever submitted someone, but I think that's because he likes to just crush people. He likes to bang it out and fight. He used to fight.
What
in a
everyone
very-
likes is to dominate people and to win as soon as possible. If you have the ability to submit someone as soon as you can, you would do it.
I think that's your mindset. I think Justin Gaethje's mindset is to be the most violent person alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why he lost some fights early in his career, because he took unnecessary chances.